The sun had not fully risen over Gettysburg when the fog began to settle low across the fields. Soft, quiet, almost peaceful. But there are places in this world where peace feels borrowed, and Gettysburg may be one of them. Welcome back to Nightly Haven. Tonight's story is a little different because it isn't about monsters hiding in the dark or legends meant to entertain. This is about memory, about tragedy so immense that some believe the land itself still remembers. And on Memorial Day, perhaps there's no place more fitting to talk about than Gettysburg, July 1863. For 3 days, the fields and hills of this quiet Pennsylvania town became the site of one of the most bloodiest battles in American history. Over 50,000 men were killed, wounded, or missing. Fathers, brothers, teenage boys who lied about their age just to fight. Some died instantly in cannon fire, others lingered for hours beneath the burning summer sun, calling out for water, for help, for their mothers. The air was thick with smoke, mud, blood, and fear. Cannons shook the earth so violently that locals miles away reported feeling their homes tremble. And when the battle finally ended, the silence that followed must have felt unnatural, because how could a place ever sound normal again after witnessing that much suffering? Over the decades, Gettysburg has become known not only as a historical battlefield, but as one of the most haunted locations in America. But tonight, I didn't want to frame these stories as trapped soldiers endlessly wandering in pain. That feels wrong, disrespectful. Instead, maybe what people experience here is something else entirely, an echo, a scar left behind by overwhelming human emotion. Some researchers call it residual haunting, the idea that moments of intense trauma can somehow imprint themselves into a place, replaying under the right conditions like a recording burned into stone. Not intelligent spirits, not ghosts trying to scare anyone, just history bleeding through. And if there was ever a place powerful enough to hold on to memory, it would be Gettysburg. One of the most famous locations is Devil's Den, a rocky area where brutal fighting took place during the battle. Visitors there have reported hearing distant gunfire despite complete silence across the park. Others describe smelling smoke in the middle of a clear air. Some claim to hear marching boots, clinking gear, or muffled voices drifting through the trees before they suddenly stop. And then there are the sightings. People describe seeing soldiers standing silently in the fog. Sometimes they appear wounded, sometimes they simply stare, and almost always they vanish within seconds. One of the strangest stories that came from tourists who said they encountered a man dressed in full Civil War uniform near Devil's Den. According to the account, the man calmly spoke to them about the battle and pointed out where the soldiers had fought. Then he walked away behind the rocks and disappeared. Later, park staff reportedly told them that the uniform he wore matched descriptions from the battle exactly. There are stories from photographers whose cameras malfunction only in certain areas, security guards hearing voices in empty fields, park rangers reporting unexplained figures walking through the mist before fading into darkness. Even skeptics admit something about Gettysburg feels heavy. And maybe that makes sense, because trauma changes places. You could feel it in abandoned hospitals, old prisons, sites of disaster. There are locations where people instinctively lower their voice without knowing why, as if human suffering leaves the fingerprints behind. Gettysburg may simply hold more fingerprints than most places on Earth. And maybe Memorial Day is the perfect time to remember that. Because behind every ghost story was a real person, a terrified 19-year-old clutching a photograph from home, a medic trying desperately to save someone bleeding out in the dirt, a horse collapsing beside exhausted soldiers, men who probably believed they would survive until suddenly they didn't. It's easy to turn battlefields into legends, but what happens here was real, and perhaps that is what people truly feel when they walk these grounds. Not horror, not evil, but grief, courage, fear, and sacrifice. The emotional weight of thousands of final moments pressed into the earth itself. Maybe every now and then, under the right light, in the right silence, with the fog rolling low across the hills, history whispers back. not to frighten us, but to remind us that freedom was paid for people who never made it home, and maybe the echoes remain so they are never forgotten. Happy Memorial Day from Nightly Haven, and tonight, if you hear the wind outside your window, listen closely. Sometimes the past isn't gone. Sometimes it's still echoing. Have a good day, guys.